People know me as Victor Pritchard. That's cool.
Cool. Any relation?
No, everyone asks me that because he doesn't have a T in his last name.
Mm,
His is Prichard.
gotcha. Okay. Well, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. Today, I'm being joined by Victor Pritchard of LAX Fan Fest and Gemini Sportscard, right? As well.
Yes, sir.
So, are you also LAG Group? Is that also you?
No, LAG Entertainment Group is a partner with LAX Fan Fest based out of Miami.
Ah,
That's
okay.
by one of my good friends named Louis Alava.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I used to do SuperCon all the time in Miami. That was a big one, like for the convention scene. Um, well, for the listeners that are watching and are not familiar, LAX Fan Fest is happening June 28th here in Los Angeles, and it's, I would have to say, the largest gathering of wrestling superstars, legends, and whatnot. What can people expect when they get a ticket to Fan Fest?
Well, like you said, LAX Fan Fest, it's one of its kind out here on the West Coast. We've put together a wrestling autograph convention with legends, um, up and coming independent wrestlers that you're going to see real soon, as well as a lot of current superstars from AEW. So we make it a family show. We usually will gather about 15 to 20 wrestlers. We do this about once a year. And this is just not for your wrestling fan. This is really dedicated if you're that autograph wrestling collector. You're that autograph fan that wants to come in and have that personal experience with meeting maybe a hero that you grew up watching. It's amazing because we see all different age groups come to our convention. We see adults, young adults, we see kids, very young kids that come with their families that are just getting into wrestling. But with the power of the internet and YouTube, they're so familiar with a lot of the great legends. And especially now with autographs, and people love to take photos with professional wrestlers and share those memories. It's a great convention that we've put together now for about 5 years. The first one we started in 2020, and I always bring this up because it was literally 2 weeks before the pandemic. And yeah, so it was cutting it close, and our main guest at the time was Undertaker.
Oh, wow.
So we were real excited. We had Undertaker there. We had Honky Tonk Man. We had Enzo. We had Mark Henry. We had Candice Michelle, Kelly Kelly. We even had at the time he was known as Sifa Fatu, which we
Mm.
all know as Solo Sokola. He was at the show. Rikishi. So that was our first show in 2020, and from then on, every year we've tried to put one together, getting different headliners, different names, and just try to create that experience for wrestling fans that they can remember and cherish.
Yeah, man. As a wrestling fan myself, but also just kind of being a little bit behind the scenes with some of the boys here and there, like it's good. It makes me happy to know that outside of, like, let's say a WrestleMania weekend type of scenario where you have WrestleCon, like outside of that, or the WWE's in town and they have their big experience, thing that they're doing. This is a chance for me to reconnect with some friends that are on the road all the time, or meet some legends that I love, or get something signed, take some pictures. I love posting up. Anybody that follows my Instagram knows that it's just me with a bunch of people. So it's one of my favorite things to do, and just go out there, like I said, meet some of the boys up, see how they're doing on the road. How do you feel now that it seems like WWE is pushing this the trading card situation a lot? They keep posting videos of like people ripping packs and this and that. Like that's a huge thing to be pushing for a person that's in your business, because now people are bringing these cards in for autographs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, wrestling cards has kind of always been that I guess that unsung hero for a while because our company is a sports card, sports collectible memorabilia business. And they've made wrestling cards for quite a while in the 80s and 90s, but yeah, just like you said, within the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, especially with Fanatics now having more hands on the merchandise side with WWE, and their contract now went from Panini now to Topps, and now they're embracing it, they're showing it, they're promoting it, they're advertising it. I just saw Triple H the other day opening up some packs.
Hmm.
I think it's great for the hobby. I think it's great for the industry. I think it gets everyone excited. Especially, I hear all the time, I used to collect cards, I used to buy cards. And now, with them seeing this, with all of the social media, it's now engaging people and getting them involved. And now they're willing to now, not only are they investing in watching the product, but now they're investing now in all the merchandise, as well as not just buying the belts and the t-shirts and the photos, but now the trading cards has been now an adjunction to everything, and it's great. And I've always loved sports cards. I love to see that when people come and they share their sports cards with me. A lot of times customers want to know, how do I know what one card is worth this price versus another? So I try to help them, explain them the nuances to it. And then when we have a show like LAX Fan Fest, a lot of those cards they can now get autographed and they see it get signed in person. And I tell them that just adds value to it, and they love it. And now they become more or less hooked on it. And
Hmm.
and what I notice with wrestling fans versus like your casual sports fan, with wrestling fans, they just don't collect one guy. They want to collect them all.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's
they keep
huge.
collecting them until they get everybody they want.
Yeah, it's huge, and they're doing like special things. Like I know that I think for like WrestleMania, some of the wrestlers are wearing patches, and then those patches go to a card or something, or you can might get a card like that. I don't know. I know they have different tiers of rarity now too. There's one of ones, and I
Mhm.
think it's great, and it helps everyone because if you're a customer and you get the pack and you get a good card that's worth a lot of money, now you get that sign, now it's worth more money, and
Right.
or it has more sentimental value because you met the wrestler and you have all that things. It's not just about the money, but if you are one of those collectors that's just looking for like a big get, that's a great opportunity right there. And I know you guys have vendors at LAX Fan Fest too.
Yeah, we do. So not only do we have wrestling signers and wrestling guests, we also have vendors that come in. Some of the vendors will bring in wrestling talent, but then we also have our loyal vendors that come in and they sell different merchandise. We have vendors that will sell autograph masks, or we'll have a vendor that sells figures, or we'll have some artists that come in and do amazing work of their own art of professional wrestling. So we kind of have like a hodgepodge of different vendors coming in and selling different items, and it's great. And what I really enjoy is I love seeing when the vendors tell me, "Wow, this was a great show. When's the next one?" And
Mm.
I'm like, "Yeah, I definitely want to do another one, but I'm just trying to get through this first one." That's great feedback because I know that they did well. They're excited, and especially if they're traveling and they're not from the local area and they're coming quite a far away, so it's always great to see that. But yeah, we also have different vendors that sell all types of merchandise. You'll even see some vendors there selling autographs of wrestling. I have vendors that come from Texas, Las Vegas, local here from LA, and even as far as from back east. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to see some of those vendors in person and put a face to the company as well.
Um, since you're kind of more in that world than I am, I kind of dabble in the convention scene and the collector scene. I have a bunch of stuff. I just don't really like. Only recently did I start like taking care of my collection, like buying cases and buying frames and stuff like that. So, uh, my what I know now of certain collectible things like Pokemon cards is that the grading system is super important. Getting PSA involved and sending your cards out to get them graded because that elevates the value even more. Uh, is that something that you like? Do you have you thought about bringing them into the convention to LAX Fan Fest so that anybody that's there they can get it signed and then right away just send it over to PSA to get it graded?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. So our company, we're actually PSA authorized dealers,
Oh, nice.
which in other words means that not only at LAX Fan Fest, but people can come to our store and they can bring items to either get certified and graded trading cards, or if they want to get their autograph authenticated. PSA will be at LAX Fan Fest.
Nice.
The only service that they offer at this show, it's called a in the presence, where in other words, it means any superstar, any wrestler that's signing there that day, you go up to their table after you get your item signed. They charge $10 and they will authenticate it there in front of you by putting one of their stickers with a serial number on there. And they put the sticker that's tamper proof and evidence proof that your autograph is authentic. And they put
Nice.
a small sticker on your photo, belt, Funko Pop, figure, any type of item that you got signed. They will offer this in the present service there. So yeah, we definitely are a big fan of third party authentication. We feel that it adds a lot of value to the item, especially when we have a lot of customers and fans that come to this event and they're just not getting one autograph. They're getting their stuff signed by multiple superstars. So the added authentication will definitely help um, create value to what they're investing in, as well as maintaining the value, whether they're going to be keeping the items or if down the road they decide to resell it. Then there's no debate. It's pretty black and white. Hey, this autograph is authentic. Not only did we get it signed in person, but we also had PSA there witness it and put their tamper proof sticker on the item.
That's awesome, man. That's great because, yeah, like I said, I've recently started getting into that world. Like my wife collects Pokemon cards, and she
Mm-hmm.
gets them graded, and I'm kind of like very curious. Like, man, this is something. And you also, if you pay attention to wrestlers' social medias, you'll see them also doing that stuff. Like I know Tavon, the Olympic kid, is he's always posting his Pokemon cards. I mean, it's a big deal, and it could, if you get a good card and you get it graded and signed or whatever it may be, like there's a lot of money behind that. You could, take a nice little vacation if you really want to, get into that world. But
Right.
uh, I wanted to talking about signatures and stuff. One of the concerns, I guess, in the industry or in the wild, is the people that show up like at the airport with like a dolly of things to get signed at the airport, or they'll show up at and hold up your lines over, like, let's say at a Bret Hart's line or something, and they have 1,000 things they want to sell. Like, how do you feel about that? Because I get both sides of it. It sucks that they're taking up other people's time and the wrestlers' time, and most of that stuff is to resell anyway. But I don't know. I'm kind of on both sides about it because if you do have a lot of stuff you want signed, then you want to take this opportunity.
Yeah, I feel, and I've seen this myself coming. And even when I was younger, when I was, 12, 13, 14 years old, I was a grapher. I mean, I used to go to baseball games, I used to go to the hotels. I remember when WrestleMania was here, WrestleMania 2000, I used to go to the hotels and graph and stuff. But I did it more for my personal use. Like I would take my program just to get it signed or to get a picture. And I was, 14, 15 years old. And you kind of saw the writing on the wall there because I would see vendors and stuff that I knew and they were getting stacks and stacks of stuff signed. And, the talent really didn't have a problem with it, unless they had to go, unless they were in the rush. Like I remember Stephanie McMahon, she would say, "Okay, I'll sign for everybody, but it's one autograph only." And everyone was like, "Cool, okay." Triple H, he would sign, but he was in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I got Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero was literally like on his way out and he was not feeling good, and I'm like, Mr. Guerrero, do you mind signing this? And he stopped, turned around, and he signed it for me.
That's awesome.
So, and I seen kids get stuff signed, and that's fine. Where I do think it gets a little out of control is yes, you go to the airport, they're coming off of a long flight, they're tired, they're exhausted, and someone has a stack of 30 photos.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of have to think, well, what are you doing with 30 photos,
you're selling them for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely. And they know they're not stupid. Like we saw the thing with Rey Mysterio that happened last year with all the Funko Pops. We
yeah.
saw, I know for a fact, because I've done many behind the scenes signings with this one particular talent. I won't mention her name. I've done a lot of signings with her, and I even said, I go, you gotta like in the autograph world, the more you sign, it kind of devalues your autograph. And she's very sweet. She's very nice. She won't say no, but she'll do it. And then, I kind of gave her the context, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one. I think her sister was there too. And she said, Victor, you do have a point. Where someone like me, they know I do have a store. They know I'm, buying these to resell, and I'm paying them a substantial amount of money.
Right.
And they get it and they know it, but someone who's coming in, waiting at the airport, and what gets to really, really bad is when they start getting nasty.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of the fans get upset. They start yelling, they start swearing. And I mean, you don't have to do that. You just have to accept their answer. But some
Yeah.
people
They don't
obviously
owe you anything.
they,
Yeah.
they don't have any etiquette. They just
Yeah.
feel like you have to sign my stuff. As far as someone coming to a signing, a paid signing, hey, if you're paying for that item, if you're getting so many items signed, we usually, what we do is if we know we have someone who has a store, let's say on the East Coast or one of my big vendors, they'll usually either come out to the show and we set a certain amount of time to get done kind of behind it so that it
Mhm.
doesn't hold up our line,
Nice. Okay.
or we accept mail order. So sometimes if someone can't come to the event or be there, then they'll mail us the item.
Mm.
So we kind of try to figure all this out strategically, because at the end of the day, we know that the talent's only there for so long. We know that customers are going to be there. It's going to be a long show. They don't want to be there all day waiting in line. So this year, what's nice about LAX Fan Fest is we actually created a VIP admission. And if you go to our website, it'll say Konnan VIP admission, where basically we have a standard admission, which is $25. The standard admission gets you into the convention, but with every standard admission, you get a free autograph or photo op, whichever one you choose, with Ahmed Johnson. Now, if you would like the VIP, and this is for maybe someone who doesn't want to wait in a line to maybe meet Bret Hart or Dustin, and let's say that they want to get multiple items signed, and maybe they want to go into the convention an hour early at 9 o'clock to kind of get some of the other guests. We have something called a VIP admission, which is $75. It gets you into the show 1 hour early, but what's also included in that is two autographs and one photo op with Konnan. And you also have a particular bracelet. It's kind of like a fast pass, I call it. So you will get front of the line for Bret Hart and Dustin Rhodes.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
actually a pretty affordable price too. I've seen some ridiculous packages out there, especially during WrestleMania weekend.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You could see, we try to be cognizant of everyone's budget, because we know sometimes, you can't meet everybody. You kind of have to figure out, okay, who's on my priority list? Who do I want to get? We try to bring in different talent, different people, different talent that maybe hasn't been here before, or maybe some up and coming talent. So we try to make our own mix or cocktail of different superstars that everybody can kind of have that opportunity to see. But yeah, and then we try to make the prices as best as we could based on what the talent charges us, and obviously all the expenses that go into putting the show, from ballroom, flights, hotels, staff, merchandise. It's there's so many pieces to this big puzzle, but we try to put it all together in all these different moving parts to try to make it a successful show.
Yeah, I've been to a couple, man. They've always been great. And I can it as a person, I've done shows as well. Live shows or events, and I see the amount of work that has to go into logistically, just getting everybody there in time, getting the making sure that everybody's got their hotels. They got to ride to the from their hotel to the venue.
Right.
All these little details. You guys have put a lot of work, and I mean, as far as I know, I'm sure there's always been one or two hit misses here or there with people not showing up or whatever, but for the most part, it seems like it's all runs pretty smoothly. from everything that I've seen. I've gotten the opportunity to meet everybody I've wanted every time I've gone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we try our best. That's one of the reasons why I like, um, one of the reasons why I picked the show. Because a lot of people say, "Why do you?" Because I used to do my shows out in City of Industries quite frequently before I moved it, and I found that the Hilton by LAX Airport is just so convenient. So if you're coming from out of town, if you're staying by the airport, if talent is coming in and they have to leave the same day or fly out the same night, it's literally like a quarter mile from the airport. So it's kind of like centrally located, depending on if you're coming from the valley, if you're coming from LA, North LA, South LA, Orange County, or wherever you may be coming, people that come from the Bay Area, people who are flying in from Arizona. I remember our first show when we had Undertaker, I had fans that came as far as Japan,
Ooh.
and they were just like, thanks for having the show close to the airport for us. We just got off a 14-hour flight. And
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, so yeah, so we try to, logistically come up with a good location that works for everybody. The hotel always is very accommodating. They give us a block of rooms. So if you're coming, maybe an hour, 2 hours, you want to get there early, they give us a special rate if you want to stay at the hotel. They have plenty of parking. We actually get discounted parking for everybody. So you pay a flat fee of $20 and you can park all day in their parking structure. And you can come in and out if you need to. So, like you said, there's a lot of little details and nuances to the show, and and we don't master everything. We're always looking for feedback. We're always trying to get people's constructive criticism, things that didn't work, maybe something to do in the future. Every show is not going to be perfect, but we try to do our best. So overall, everyone has a great experience.
hell yeah. Yeah, you guys do a great job. And I know we were talking about potentially, like you were saying, like doing other things like events or like a match. Is that something that you've thought about doing in the convention as well?
Yeah, we want to eventually maybe try to put on a wrestling show. The wrestling company that we were working with actually called Knox Pro. For
Mm.
some of you that aren't familiar with Knox Pro, that is run by Reno Inouye, who is Rikishi's brother. And it just so happened this week they're actually moving their whole facility.
Oof.
So yeah, so it wasn't, but we're gonna probably be doing a show with them. We've talked about maybe doing something in November when Survivor Series is out in San Diego because I don't think WrestleCon is going to be coming out here. I don't know if WWE is going to be doing a Fanatics event out there. So we may try to put our heads together, maybe try to put something together for Survivor Series.
That'd be great. That'd be great because I was going to say like the only thing the show is or the event is missing, I think, is like a stack of shows of like little things, something to keep people there. Because that's
Hmm.
the other thing. Sometimes people go in, they get an autograph, and then they get out. But if you keep them
Right.
there, they might circle around. They might do another lap. They might pick some more stuff up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
keep them around. So I think that's a great idea too. I had two more questions that I wanted to ask you before we go. So, um, who is a guest that you've wanted but haven't been able to get yet for your show?
Um, I mean, we would like to eventually work with some of the current WWE talent. It's tough because obviously if they're on the road working with WWE or if they have an agreement with them, uh, it can be challenging. We would love to work with John Cena.
Oh, that'd be huge.
I know he just some stuff recently with Fanboy Expo, but I don't know what they ended up working out with, so he would be a good name. Um, Batista would be a good name, someone along those lines. So yeah, we try to get creative sometimes and come up with different names that are relative to.
Yeah.
But yeah, off the top of my head, I think those would be two amazing guests to have at a future show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be massive. I think I saw a video, actually, a clip. I think somebody was complaining because everybody's complaining on the internet, but they were complaining about a meet and greet with John Cena because it was literally like a quick handshake, snap a picture, move. And it was like a quick,
Yeah,
it's just so many people that it's ridiculous.
yeah,
You don't have time for
I know.
conversations and, let's take a selfie and like, let's do it your way. Like it has to be a quick, like handshake, poof, get out.
Yeah, that's how they run. A lot of times, whenever you have a big guest like that, you know, it's difficult because you want to give people that experience. But if you have 2, 3 thousand people waiting to meet him, there's only so much time to get through everybody.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy to see how like certain talent get like the diehards, and I think like the Hardys, even though
Oh,
they're almost at every con, and they always stick around and get everyone that's in line. They still manage to keep a humongous line. It's wild.
oh
every
yeah,
every time.
I mean, the Hardy Boys is probably one of the greatest tag teams we've ever gotten to see. They're still relative now. They're still wrestling, which is amazing to
Yeah.
really think about. I mean, I remember them in early 2000 just starting out, and we had them at our show in 2021, and it was great. Those guys are great, professional. They really love their fans. That's one thing I can remember because I remember just them. Oh, I love your T-shirt. That's a cool T-shirt. Or oh wow, I remember this figure. So those guys are great. Those guys really love their fans a lot, and those are why I think they do so well because I think they've a lot of people. They're meeting them multiple times.
Right. Because they're trying to
No,
build like a relationship
yeah,
type of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
meeting them, so they'll come back and meet them multiple times. Just like with Bret Hart, we've had Bret Hart probably this is our eighth time in over 10 years, and people will just come back to meet them because of the experience they had with him.
Yeah.
So I think that's how the Hardys are. Hardys, Mick Foley's like that. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
gives people a great experience. Kane is like that. They have a lot of personal. I remember when we used to work with Scott Hall. Oh, you get Scott Hall and Kevin Nash together.
Hmm.
I remember those guys, they really like were living the gimmick of the NWO. Like even as they were in their 60s together, you get those two guys together, those guys were still living in the gimmick,
Nice.
doing what they want to do. But those guys love their fans. And I remember Scott Hall, he would never sit down. He would stand for everybody. He would sit down and then get right back up. So I think
Nice.
that's why those guys people will always remember because not only were they great in the ring and they had that more than life personality, but then once they got to meet them in person, they weren't disappointed. They're
Yeah.
like everything more than I can agree. Kurt Angle, amazing, nice guy, soft spoken guy, but awesome with fans. There's so many of them. I remember China, she was amazing with her fans. She would hug, and I remember kissing, on the cheek and everything. And like now these days, you're like some fans, you gotta like be careful, like you even want to hug them. But she was like very like huggy and very warm with everybody. So yeah, I mean, I think the experience is why the Hardys, people will wait in line for them for hours.
Yeah, man. They get it. I mean, and it makes me sad actually when I hang around with some of the boys, like the younger talent. I'm not going to name anybody, but
Yeah,
just some of the younger guys that have only been around 10 years maybe, and that's a long time, but still compared to like a Matt Hardy, you're still a youngin. And they're like talking crap about the fans, like, oh, these marks and blah. It's like, brother, that's why you're in business. The only reason you're here is because you have fans. Like, what are you doing?
yeah. The day I remember, I was trying to think who told me this. Someone told me that they go the day when they stop asking you for your autograph is when you have to worry.
Yeah, yeah,
When the
yeah.
day when they stop asking you, the day when they stop asking about your autograph, or the day when they stop hating on you is when you have to worry.
Yeah, there's that too.
you
Yeah.
know?
I wanted to like I got the honor of meeting Mr. Matt Hardy, and it wasn't in a convention setting. It was after TNA when they were here in Ontario,
Mhm.
and it was already super late, like 2 in the morning. I was on my way out, and I'm walking through the lobby with Santino, who's a buddy, and in walks Hardy with a bag of Outback, and he's like, "Boys, you want some Outback?" I'm like, I'm not going to eat, but I'll hang out with you. I'll hang out with Matt Hardy and while he
Yeah,
eats Outback.
yeah.
And brother, what an amazing night! He was just telling stories and treated me like he knew me my whole life, you know. And at the end, he asked me if I wanted a photo because I was just kind of like, all right, it was really great meeting you. He's like, you want a picture? I'm like, yes, I do actually. I think it would be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
So that
great.
shows that like you got to be that way, man. Like you leave these experience. Like he knew what he was doing. I'm sure he knew. He's never met me, but like, let me leave a lasting impression in this person. Now I made a fan for life, you know, like that kind. I mean, I was always a Hardy fan anyway, but now it's like, oh wow, he was cool too. You know, they tell you not to meet your heroes, but sometimes it's okay.
Sometimes it's okay, and I think too, they've gone through, they've been a lot. The Matt and Jeff has gone through a lot of ups and downs and struggles, and now Matt's a dad. He's
Yeah,
got kids. He's been married now, and I think also as we grow up, we become more mature. We really figure out what's important in life, and I think just the time that you're spending building relationships, that's what it's all about.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's something I've learned in the last few years. That, like, I don't care. I want to take a picture with you because it's not a clout chase. It's a let's remember this moment that we've shared because that's all we got at the end of the day, you know. Um, all right, so let me. I want to rattle off some of the names you have here on the list of guests this year. So you've got Bret Hart, as we mentioned earlier, Rikishi, which is he still be able to go, or is he doing the move thing?
No, no, he will be
He'll
there.
be there. Okay,
He
cool.
he does all his appearances as his brother, and they were moving their wrestling school, but I think they're all moved in right now, which is good.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. You also mentioned Ahmed Johnson and Konnan. There's the Greg the Hammer Valentine will be there, which is huge. Amina Shirakawa, that's a big one because she's a rising star right now.
Mhm.
Everybody loves Mina, so that's a big one for you guys. Lisa Marie Barron, sorry, I don't know, Dustin Rhodes. I need to meet Dustin. I've never met him. That's I need to meet him. Who else we got? Oh, Papa Shango.
Yes. He's gonna be in both gimmicks, he told me.
No shit, Tech. He's doing both days, but like different
Yeah.
gimmick. Or no, it's one day. How's he gonna do both gimmicks?
He told me that he was gonna do, I guess he does Godfather like the first half, and then the second half he'll do Papa Shango.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like,
kind of
whatever you
cool.
want. I call him Bear. His friends call him Bear. So if you ever
Nice.
call him Bear, he knows you're his buddy. And he's another one, another great guy. Amazing. Like I saw him at the first day walking into WrestleCon. He was trying to set up and just stopped, talked with me, my wife. Another classy guy. A great example of someone you will definitely want to meet at the Fan Fest.
Absolutely. You got CVV, my arch nemesis. We're currently in a storyline, anti CVV storyline over at Nearly Average Wrestling because he's putting on a show the same night we are.
Oh,
So
really?
we're at
Oh, I didn't
war.
know
This is
that.
war now.
Oh, okay. We'll have to do a shoot interview there or something.
Yeah, let's see. Call him out.
Yeah,
Also, Sean Waltman, X Pac. That's
yeah.
another big name. Huge. But yeah, dude, the fest looks incredible. I'm excited to go. I think we've talked about it, but I'd love to do something with Nearly Average Wrestling there at some point because I think it's a
Yeah,
fun little interactive thing for everybody.
absolutely. Yep.
But June 28th, where can people buy tickets? Let people know where to go.
So it's June 28th. You can purchase your tickets on our website, which is fanfestlax.com.
Awesome. And the show runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Obviously, the 1 hour early for the VIPs, I suppose.
Yeah, so it's actually 9 a.m. to 6. What we did was if you want to come in 1 hour early for
Oh, I see.
VIP, so you can come in at 9. Most of the guests are do like 10 to 2, and
Gotcha.
then Bret Hart is going to sign from 2 to 6. So we scheduled it that way so everybody has a chance to meet everybody. We don't want to put Bret in the middle of the show, then everybody's standing in line for him and not able to meet everybody. So then by then, everybody should have a chance to meet who they wanted to. And then if you have a Bret Hart ticket, then you are ready for him from 2 to 6. We're going to have a professional photographer there. So we are offering a pro photo op opportunity with Bret Hart where you get a professional photo op and you also get your photo op printed there on the spot.
Oh, nice. That's
Yes,
that's a
yes,
big one. Yeah,
yes,
that's good.
yes. And no spoiler, but in next week we're going to be announcing a guest that I think everyone will be really excited for.
Okay, okay, okay. That's exciting because I
Yes.
thought the announcements were done, so there's more.
No, we have an announcement that's I think just got posted about 30 minutes ago. If you haven't seen it, we added Jasmine St. Clair to the show,
Ah, yes.
W legend. So she will be there. And then next week we will have a name that I think everyone will be excited for. I don't think he's ever done anything out here. And then we have a few more names we're going to be now. So I plan on announcing uh, up to the show. So we're still waiting confirmation on a couple, just getting everything, making sure that they're able to come because some of them do wrestle and they got to make sure that their schedule is clear and they get flights back in time and everything.
Absolutely.
But next week, make sure you guys follow LAX Fan Fest Instagram. Make sure you're watching our website, fanfestlax.com. Our Facebook is LAX Fan Fest, or if you follow the Gemini Sports Cards Facebook.
Awesome. And you guys, you do have a Gemini table over at Frankensons? Is that
Yeah, so
still
we
there?
actually started there. I've been there since I was 8 years old.
Nice.
So we have a store inside the Frank and Son Collectible Show. We sell sports cards, sports memorabilia, autographs, wrestling. We also do PSA subs there, submissions there as well. So you can come, you can bring your cards. We'll do a free analysis for you. We do authentication. There's always stuff going on at Frankensons. There's a big event there in 2 weeks as well. So yeah, that's where we're at on Wednesdays from 3 to 9, Saturdays from 9 to 6, and Sundays from 12 to 5.
Nice. I love going there. It's like a convention, but it's there every week. So it's
Every
pretty
week
awesome.
I call it the weekly Comic Con before there was Comic Con.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, Victor, thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank
taking
you
some
for
time to
having
talk to
me.
me. Yeah,
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate it, brother.
I love supporting what you're doing. I think more people, I mean, I don't want to take your business away from you. I don't want to say more people should be doing
No,
that,
but I
but
know. Yeah, no, it's great. The wrestling community is fun. You know, I'm a lifelong wrestling fan myself as a kid. I remember when I was 8 years old, my father taking me to the Forum and watching NWA.
nice.
And there used to be a bar up there that my dad used to go up to, and he would say, "Sit there." And I remember looking down the hall, and I saw Ric Flair and J.J. Dillon, walking down the steps. Some cool memories. I remember I used to go to the sports arena when I was young, and I would tell my father, "Let's go sit at the very, very top," because when you sat at the top of the sports arena, you could look over and you could see the locker room. So I
Ah,
remember seeing Macho Man and Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. So I'm a wrestling fan myself. My wife loves wrestling too. So, it's great to see all the smiles and all the younger crowd, the younger kids come and all the families and adults. And it's a great experience. It's a great moment of joy and positive things that we're just trying to promote. So I hope everyone has a chance to come out to LAX Fan Fest. If they have any questions, concerns, feedback, you can go to our website. You can message me, you can email me, text me. My phone number's on there, so I'm very easy to find.
excellent. Awesome, brother. Well, hey, thanks again. And everybody that's watching, go check it out. Go to the website, follow them on social media. And if you're in town, come hang out. I'll be there walking around, talking to people, shaking hands, and, all that thing. So come say hi. All right. Thank you for watching.
Thank
Peace.
you.